Welcome back to Daybreak and thank you for joining us. And now we move to our discussion segment, and today we'll focus on the African Democratic Congress, or ADC, and the growing challenges threatening its position as a platform for a major opposition coalition ahead of the 2027 general elections. Now, once envisioned as a third force capable of challenging the ruling APC, the party is now showing worrying cracks. Recent developments, including the appointment of former Senate President David Mark as national chairman and Rauf Aregbesola as a national secretary, has sparked a fierce internal backlash. Now, factions within the party accuse the leadership of ignoring due process and sidelining, grassroots voices, describing the move as an orchestrated political coup. Now, tensions have also intensified between elite politicians seeking to use the party as a platform for personal ambitions and grassroots members, particularly youth and women who fear the ADC is being hijacked rather than serving as a vehicle for genuine reform. Reports indicate friction between supporters of Peter Obi, the Obedient, and other coalition blocs, especially over zoning the 2027 presidential ticket, raising fears that these disputes could fracture opposition unity. Now, compounding these challenges, the party's recent performances in local by-elections have been underwhelming. In the FCT area councils, River State and Kano State by-elections, ADC candidates failed to make a significant impact, signaling that national-level momentum has not yet translated into effective grassroots mobilization of voter trust. Now, analysts warn that these results highlight both organizational weaknesses and the urgent need to resolve internal disputes. And joining us in the studio to shed light on these developments is Mr. Chille Igbawua, a chieftain of the African Democratic Congress, a lawyer, a technocrat, an administrator, and a former parliamentarian and former chief commissioner of the Public Complaints Commission of Nigeria. And together we'll explore the cracks in the ADC. Good morning, Honorable. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, then let's begin with the leadership controversy in the ADC. We have seen the appointment of former Senate President David Mark as an interim chairman and also Rauf Aregbesola as an interim secretary. And this has sparked a lot of debate within the party with, other political leaders calling on the attention of the party, saying that these people were just imposed on us. It was not a discussion we had or coming to an agreement to agree that these two persons should be the ones leading the party. What do you make of this, and give us clarity as to where this matter is at the moment in the ADC?
Okay, thank you very much once again. I must confess that part of the challenge you're talking about, I'm just hearing it from you for the first time.
Interesting, Honorable.
What I know is that I have been from the beginning of the coalition, so I know the story from the beginning. And when the coalition decided, after searching through all existing political parties, we took a decision that we knew what the government was standing for and that it would be impossible for us to register a new political party. And that's why we chose ADC. Even then, we still tried our hands by putting an application through ADA, just to test the grounds, and it proved us right that if we had wasted time to register a new party, we would have got nothing. Now, when we agreed, and this was over, negotiations over 6 months with the legacy ADC, there was agreement, and within the leadership of the coalition, let me first and foremost say that it was by special appeal that David Mark agreed to be chairman. He didn't contest.
Okay, special appeal from
leadership.
Okay.
From the leadership of the coalition. And they also voluntarily appointed Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola as the national secretary of the party. I'm not aware of any issues that arose before their inauguration. We then shared all the other positions to the geopolitical zones and requested them to nominate their representatives to those offices. We gave conditions. We must have social number of youths. We must have social number of females on your nominations. And this was strictly adhered to. It was when the 6 geopolitical zones brought their nominees that we eventually went to the NEC meeting, which formally inaugurated this new leadership. This new leadership also includes members of the legacy ADC. For instance, the national treasurer of the ADC is the former chairman of the BOT of the legacy ADC, Dr. Ibrahim Mani. We also have a deputy national chairman, Dr. Ajadi, who is also of the legacy ADC. And the deputy national secretary, who is the youngest lady to rise to that position in Nigeria, Hauwa Yusuf from the Northeast. She's the youngest person to be deputy national secretary of a national party. She also came from the legacy ADC. So I'm telling you that there was no problem at the time of constitution of this leadership. And after the inauguration, I have not heard about such problems that are being mentioned here. That's why I say it is news to me. We don't have such problems. And I don't know who is. As far as the leadership, I don't know who is saying it was imposed on them. Because the leadership of the coalition was made up of the political parties that constituted it. We had Labour, and Peter Obi was there himself. We had APC, we had several people like Babachir, he was there. We had Malami, he was there. From the PDP, we had the David Marks of this world. From the same APC, we had Kashim Ibrahim. From the PDP, we had the Tambuas, the Emeka Hediohas, and so forth. And I'm saying that it was by the consensus of these leaders that those persons were chosen. And those were the only 2 persons that were chosen at the leadership level. The remaining positions were zoned to the geopolitical zones. And they went back home, consulted, and came in line with the guidelines given to them, and produced the persons that are now occupying those positions. So I don't know who is imposing somebody on somebody.
All right.
I've not heard about it. I'm just hearing for it in the studio for the first time, that somebody is complaining about people being imposed on them.
All right, let us clarify another thing as well. Now, the reports of friction between Peter Obi supporters and which are called the Obedience and other coalition blocks, especially over zoning the 2027 presidential ticket. We've seen that Peter Obi say that he is only going to be on the ticket as a presidential candidate, and we have Atiku Abubakar as well. Now, could you explain the sources of these frictions, if there are at all, in the ADC?
You see, the issue is that at the time of negotiations, not everybody was involved. Some people came in when the decision was made to adopt ADC as a platform. Now, they already had an agenda, but at the leadership level, there was agreement that people coming into ADC must come with open minds. Nobody should have a predisposition that I'm either this or the thing breaks up. Up till now, anybody who is preparing or requesting to come to the ADC, the condition is that you must come in without conditionalities. If you say, I want to come in so that you make me in, they say, just stay where you are. There's no need. So the members of the Obedient, because they were for Peter Obi. Now, these are supporters of one person. What else do you expect from them? They should expect the best for their own person. They didn't come in as even Labour Party. Even within Labour Party, remember, if you follow the politics at that time, even within Labour Party, Obedience were independents. They were not necessarily members of the Labour Party. They were for Peter Obi. It's either Peter Obi or nothing else. So I think that predisposition has carried them into, some of them, because I'm working closely with many of them who understand the present situation.
Now,
so we have not even gotten to the issue of presidential candidate selection. So there should be the conflict.
I'd like to hear the state of the ADC at this point when it comes to internal unity, or I would say fractures, the so-called fractures that the speculations are coming out of.
I think that the story about fractures must be the handiwork of the APC government and its party. We are carrying out our programs in line with what is already on ground. As I tell you now, we have a committee working to amend our constitution. It involves everybody who is part of the coalition. Whatever you want to put in the constitution, you have the right to take it, including members of the public. We have another committee which is handling policy and manifesto of the party. And that's why we're not too loud on some of these things, because we want the document to come out when people can see, when you can refer people to it, either online or hard copies, and they can go and read what you're talking about. We have a third committee which is responsible for membership, mobilization, registration, and revalidation. These three committees are working assiduously as I speak to you. We have started the membership, registration, and revalidation at the state levels. And these other two committees are expected to submit their reports within the time given. And we expect that all this will be concluded before we go to our convention, hopefully early April. So when that happens, we're going to take these issues that need to be ratified to the convention, ratify them. So there are no issues of, they're imaginary. Let me be sure. Because I'm not an outsider. I'm in the secretariat virtually every day as special advisor to the national chairman. So I know what's going on right from the inside. So I know there may be, some few skirmishes here and there, or people who feel that the leadership is not carrying them the way they want. Maybe in the geopolitical zone, not at the national level at all. I'm not aware of any crack at the national level, not at all, to my knowledge. And we're working peacefully together, so I don't see where that's coming from.
All right, Honorable, now that you have been able to clarify that there's no cracks, no disagreement within the ADC, let's talk about the ideology of the party, which critics have said that the ADC looks more like a dissatisfied, politicians who just brought themselves together to create a coalition group to move, or rather fight, against the present ruling party. And the party has, or rather lacks, the ideology on how to run the country properly. What is your take on that? Do you think that the ADC has what it takes when it comes to ideology? Do you have a blueprint on the table at the moment in the party as to the ideology to bring forth in the Nigerian politics, and how to take Nigerians out of the sufferings and the issues that the country is facing currently from the ruling party?
Well, certainly, by the time I've already mentioned to you that we'll have a committee that's working on the manifesto and policy of the ADC. Now, what we expect, the outcomes we expect, is that when that committee completes its assignment, we will have, a manifesto which everybody can read. We will also have a policy such that persons elected on the platform of the ADC don't go shopping for what to do. They will do what the manifesto of the party says. What the policy outlines have already directed that you must do. Possibly maybe you were too young at the time we had the UPN, both of you, I must say that. But at that time, anybody who voted for UPN, if you got nothing, at least you were 100% sure of free education. That is the kind of party that ADC hopes to come up with. We also expect that ADC will be a party that has its leadership within the leadership of the party, not outside. We're not going to have an elected governor as the leader of the party at the state. We're not going to have the president as the leader of the party at the national level. He's going to be subject to the national chairman of the party. That is what happened. During the days of the NPN, the national chairman would invite the president to his office if the party felt there was something. The president would have to go and appear before the party to answer questions that the party felt things were not going, right. So that is our goal. Secondly, we are a party that believes that the young people are not leaders of tomorrow, but today. That is why I told you in the beginning that we had the youngest lady, 30-something years, as the deputy national chairman of the party. And it is a policy that whatever is being done in ADC must take cognizance of females and youths. Many of the members of the coalition, yes, they have been around, including myself, I've been around too. But sometimes you realize errors. And I dare to say that it's not everybody who has been around that has messed the place up. I'm sure that you would have known me better if I had messed places up, because I've been to some places. I was in the National Assembly. I was Chief Executive of the Public Complaints Commission of Nigeria. If I had messed up, you would have known my name long before the time I started coming before you. So we are there who believe that things have gone wrong. We need to correct them. We need to leave a legacy. And that's why we cannot, prepare a legacy in the absence of those who carry it on. We want the young men and women to be with us as we plan, so that they can own these policies, they can own this agenda, they can own this focus, so that they don't need to be told what to do. If they are called upon to take a position, they know exactly what to do because they are part of the arrangement. So ADC, by the time we have our policy document, our manifesto, it will be clear. Very, very clear that this is the first party that Nigeria is going to have that has a clear ideology, has a clear manifesto, has a clear policy outline to guide every elected member. And of course, we're going to have, covenants with anybody who's going to elections. You don't go there to carry a mandate and start marketing in the marketplace. You go there under a covenant that, look, if I'm not prepared to do what you're going to do, I drop your mandate and go away. Not carrying the mandate to another place.
Right.
We are looking for ways, and that is why we have taken time to work on these committees that I've told you about.
All right. Now let's speak about ADC's reachability and relatability when it comes to performance. Now, ADC recently contested by-elections in the FCT in Kano and Rivers State local government elections, as well as area councils, and it has struggled to make, I would say, an impact. Or what do these results tell about the party's current reach and grassroots strengths?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that has been a concern to many who expect ADC to come out much stronger than we have come. But let me just put this on record. By the time we adopted ADC as our platform, the legacy ADC was a pretty small party, had already nominated candidates for the area council elections in Abuja. We had no part to play there. It was late for us to do anything. And we analyzed the candidates that they put forward and saw that there were issues. We know that in Nigeria, when you are constituting a pair of leadership, you must be conscious about demographics. You must be conscious about religion. You must be conscious about ethnicity. And you must be conscious about local interests. Now, even though we discover that some of these nominations did not meet these requirements, there was nothing we could do. The time for submission of nominees had closed. So we were foisted with what we had. And also, it was inappropriate that you say, well, because I didn't nominate you, I'm not going to participate. So ADC went into that election knowing that there were already some fault lines in the candidates that we had. Of course, we had some good candidates. But maybe because we're still studying, I wouldn't want to mention the details of some of the limitations. I'm sure some of you already know some of the limitations, so I wouldn't say it here. But we recognize these limitations and we knew they were going to be a problem to us. Nonetheless, our leaders went out to campaign for these candidates because they were carrying the flag of the ADC. We have not, as a matter of fact, participated in an election in the real sense of the word. Like I told you, when we are ready and we go into an election, you will know that we have gone into an election. We know that very well. The preparations we are making are so that we can come out with a bang that Nigerians expect from us. So I'll call on Nigerians not to despair. Don't be disappointed. ADC is not just a third force. ADC is a second force. We know that beyond the ruling party, which is using all foul means to cajole people into their faults, there is no other party at the national level.
Now, you
there
said
are only two political parties.
ADC is the second force, not the third force. So you're saying ADC at this point has surpassed the PDP?
Mm-hmm.
Of course. I'm telling you, I was just going to tell you that at the national level, there are only two political parties that are in one piece. The APC and the ADC. If I'm wrong, tell me. Every other part is in pieces. When you go, they tell you which part are you. Are you in this one or this one? So we're not talking about pieces of political parties. We're talking about political parties in one piece. And as far as Nigeria is concerned, the two major parties that are in one piece is the ADC and the APC. And when I spoke to my supporters and the PDP faithfuls in Benue State, I told them the same thing. In Benue State, the only party that is one piece is the ADC. Every other party is in disarray. They either have 2 factions or 3 factions, or as many factions as you can count. Some of them, in fact, don't even have something to rely on at this moment. So I think that anybody who is a serious politician, seeing what, privileges and possibilities that the ADC has, will not rest on its oars. And that's why we're taking our time. Rushing into elections is not the main issue. If we had the opportunity to nominate candidates for the area council elections in Abuja, you wouldn't be seeing what you saw. But like I told you, we adopted the ADC as an existing party. And whenever you go into a project, you must accept both assets and liabilities. So we accepted both the assets and the liabilities of the ADC as a very small party. And, we carried on from there. But now, we are taking steps that the former ADC was not taking. Does the liability
surpass the asset, or does the asset surpass the liability?
No, the assets far surpass the liabilities because we are able to deal at this point with the assets.
All right, Honorable, in your words, the ADC is a second force.
Certainly.
All right then. Okay, so this brings me to my next question, because your party has alleged that there are external forces that want to come in between the ADC to destabilize the ADC, and we might presume, using your words, that because the ADC is a second force and they know the weight that they pull, because if you look at the people in the party, it is fair to say that these men can be, addressed as fathers of Nigerian politics, being that, the caliber of people in that party. So to what extent are these concerns evidence-based versus reflections on internal vulnerability?
Well, I think that the fact that external forces, and I don't want to say it in a manner that some people will be thinking that they are part of it, it is the ruling APC. Let me be straight. I'm a former member of the National Assembly. We had a union of former members. Suddenly, one former member who is a big gun in the APC, cut a piece of this association and went and incorporated it. For what purpose? So that they can take ADC to court. You are aware that there's an organization called the former members of the National Assembly who have taken the ADC to court. I mean, you don't worry about people who don't matter. Now, you see the reasons are so spurious, but because it is sub judice, I may not go into the details. You'd say that ADC should be deregistered because they bear the name African Democratic Congress when they exist only in Nigeria. Who told you? Well, perhaps the only party that has an assistant national vice chairman in charge of each of the continents of the world. No other party has it. National vice chairman in charge of every continent. That's the diaspora. So we are not thinking as locally as other parties are thinking. And in any case, the fact that you bear African Democratic Congress doesn't mean that you occupy the entire face of Africa.
All right.
I'm sure that AIT doesn't cover the entire space of Africa.
All right.
So those are spurious reasons. And I must tell you that it is those who are very worried. They know this is the only party because they have successfully dissected and divisioned the other political parties into pieces. So they don't have any fear. They are waiting that, well, at the end, if this piece nominates people, we wait. When they win primaries or when they win election, we'll go to court and say you are the wrong person, and all the elections will be nullified. They have done it in Plateau State, they have done it in Niger State,
they have
done it in Zamfara.
Yes, we're short on time, but I'd like to hear from you quickly before we go. Now, we're on the road to 2027. We've seen the elections in the Federal Capital Territory, in Kano, as well as River State. Now, we have seen a shorthand when it comes to ADC members, for example, being there at the polling units. And one would ask, how is ADC going to manage with the numbers that they need when it comes to monitoring, when it comes to dealings for the party come 2027?
Well, some of the things that will be done are not for the cameras. Maybe if privately I'm with you, I can tell you what we're doing. But some of this I can't tell them here. But I'm telling you that
people want to know.
Okay, let Nigeria be assured.
That are voting,
let Nigeria be assured that we are the party with the best structure to control ourselves. And I think that should be sufficient. We have a structure that when it's fully in place, you can't attempt to do anything about what we are doing. We will be so strongly everywhere that you can't attempt. So we're building that up, and we think it is more important at this time to put efforts in the building than in rushing to go and contest elections, when you are not fully built.
Honorable Chille Igbawua, thank you so much. A chieftain of the African Democratic Congress, a lawyer, a technocrat, an administrator, and also a former parliamentarian and former chief commissioner of the Public Complaints Commission of Nigeria. Thank you for speaking with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
It's always a delight to have you in the studio.
Absolutely.
And
thank
good
you
luck
for being
to the
here.
ADC.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, with that, we've come to the end of our discussion segment. We'll take a short breather now, and when we come back, we'll be reviewing the front pages of our national dailies. To stay with us.